So I feel like being an artist has actually gotten way harder in this day and age. Artists are facing challenges that I didn't think they had to face before. And some of them are just by advancements of technology. Um, I think that consumerism has gotten crazy. And not just consumerism in terms of buying things, but consuming content online. Like people are consuming things at a faster rate. And what impressed people 10 years ago online is completely different now because you see so much novel things in everyday life. So being noticed has become much harder because um, people's like bar of what they find entertaining has changed. And also with the algorithms now, everything is like so separated. Like everybody is in their own micro algorithm about things they think or they would like, or the algorithm think they would like. And there's no actual universal like things that go popular anymore. It just gets popular in another group, and you might think, oh, I haven't heard of that, or that artist isn't doing well, but it's just you're not seeing it because it's not in your algorithm. And because everything has become an algorithm and everybody has separate, kind of like communities going on different feeds, uh, when people find something that works or find a formula that works, they just double down on it. They just basically like repurpose it as many times as possible until it stops working. So being online has become very formulaic. And as you know, artists aren't formulaic people. Like an artist will spend years finding a formula, create something super cool, and then they want to make something else. They don't want to do the same thing again. So it completely goes against what the algorithms want. Um, so we're in a tough spot because I think artists find it hard to get noticed. And I remember now I make music. Well, I've always made music, but I had a little pocket of time when I was doing photography for a couple years. And back then, you could post one picture and get a bunch of engagement, people saying this is super cool. But now, if you post one picture, unless you already have like a massive following or something, you're just not gonna get any attention because the feed is not gonna push your picture. It rather you have a carousel because it keeps people on the app much longer than just one picture they can look at one time. And since people are consuming so much, they're probably not staying on that picture that long. Like they're not actually unless it's like, it's an amazing picture. I'm not saying like you gotta post every picture you post gotta be amazing, but like people are just like moving on so fast. So it's hard. It's really hard. And it's even especially harder because I feel an artist's job is to not give people what they want, but to give people what they think they want. No, wait. The artist's job is not to give people what they want, it's to give people what they didn't know they wanted. And with everything I just mentioned, that makes it very hard because it's like you're kind of forced to try to make stuff that you think people will like just to get noticed in the algorithm. And the moment you do something left field or something weird, it might not get the love that it deserves because it's just weird. No one knows what that looks like, you know what I mean? Or thinks, or nobody knows or has a reference to compare it with. And sometimes when something is out that can't be compared and there's nothing they can compare it to, they don't know how to feel about it. And I think I went through that phase with my music where like I'll try to get my music in playlists, but since my music is so genre like fluid, like mixes a lot of genres, sounds very different, it never really fits like a normal playlist. Like it's not gonna fit your hip hop playlist. It's not gonna fit your pop playlist perfectly. Like there might be a section in there that's just completely different. And that's the struggle that artists face. But in all that, I still think there's a gap. I still think there's a gap. And the gap is that since people are consuming things at a crazy rate, I know that there are people out there who are craving like depth, craving something deeper. Because at the end of the day, I think it's a problem that you can scroll on your feed for like an hour and a half, hour, and not remember anything. Or remember one thing. Like, it almost feels like you just wasted an hour and a half. While if you saw something that really touched you, that really made you think, you're gonna remember it. And I think people are getting sick of just like basically their time being wasted on these phones. And it's like, we can take some responsibility for it because we're actually getting on this phone, but these algorithms are hacking our psychology and like hacking our dopamine systems. And like, we are so impulsive to just like pick up our phones whenever there's like any type of inconvenience. We just pick up our phones. So, but that's a whole other conversation. That's a whole other conversation, the phones. But there's a gap. And what is the gap? The gap is that as an artist, you need to realize that when you're making your art, it should be for you, right? It should be for you. You need to love it. You need to cherish it. You need to validate your art. But when it comes to putting your art online, you do have to package it in a way that it can be received for an audience. And that's a whole different skill set. You can be an amazing artist, but if you don't know how to package your art to be received by an audience or to make you feel something, it's going to be very hard for you to really make a mark. And that's why, you can see people who are very good at social media get into art or get into anything artistic, and they'll get a lot of traction, even though if they're not a great artist. It's because they just understand how to package things for people to consume. And that's a skill that artists need to learn how to do. How long are we going to just sit around and blame the algorithm and blame our circumstances for how things are? I mean, like, we have to do something. You have to learn the skills. You have to you have to play the game. You have to play the game. And playing the game to me does not mean becoming formulaic or making things that people like. It means you have to notice that your art needs an environment that makes it look good. I think this is something Virgil said in like one of his things, said like, the space where your art lives is very important. You know what I mean? Like, if you're in an art gallery, you might see a painting with like squiggly lines and everybody's looking at it like, oh, that's amazing. Put that same painting in another place, in a regular room, it's gonna look stupid. It's gonna look stupid. So the environment where your art lives is very important. That environment doesn't have to be like a physical place. It's just like how you contextualize it for your audience. You know what I mean? You need to find out like what people would consume this art I'm making. What are their dreams? What are their fears? What are their how do they move through life? What do they want? And like, how can I associate this art with that so they can connect with me? How they can connect with what I'm trying to do, or connect with my piece, connect with my music. And that part is just good marketing. that's what I'm talking about. Like we have to learn that skill. Like you have to figure out what that looks like, and the best way is it's through try and error. Like you just gotta try it a bunch of times and fail a bunch of times. And I think, us artists also fall into overthinking and over intellectualizing things, and that stops us from putting things out there because we need it to be perfect. We need to be like a good representation. But in today's age, you have to be cool with just failing a lot and putting things out there and learning. And I think when you put stuff out there and you take it as information, as feedback to learn, then it's actually helping you on your art. You know what I mean? It's helping you improve. So, don't look at posting online as you're trying to, get people to like your stuff. It's more about you gaining information how to become a better artist. And there's no better way than just like putting it out there and seeing the reaction and seeing, what worked, what doesn't work, and moving through that. But also another thing I want to say is, because of the algorithms now, there's a lot more niche communities. So like if you're an artist, this is the best time to build your own niche community. And you don't want to just build a following on social media. You want to have contact with people who enjoy your art, whether that's through a broadcast channel on IG, whether that's through an email list. You need to be able to contact these people, now more than ever, because you never know when the algorithms are going to change. You never know when it's like people aren't going to see your stuff on your feed, and it's like if you're making a living off your art, you need to be able to have these people, in your like, you need to be able to contact them, bro. So like as an artist, that's something you need to like build an infrastructure to be able to capture emails and stuff like that. So when you have that new painting out or that new song out, you can send an email, or you can send people an email list, like to feel connected to you. You can't be an artist who just like wants to be elusive, doesn't talk to anybody, or doesn't communicate. Like if you want to create a community around your art, you have to be present. You have to hear out, your audience. Doesn't mean you're gonna make what they want, or but you can take their suggestions, and if you feel connected to it, you can use it as you will. But like it's just time to it's time to do that, because like I said, the artist's job isn't to make what people want, it's to make what they didn't know they wanted. But we're facing challenges, but there is a gap there, and a lot of people aren't really doing much to solve it. So while it's early, take the chance to really learn the environment to put your art in, to make it attractive to people who think like you, who feel like you, or who need to be inspired by your art, because your art at the end of the day can change someone's life. I think, but most importantly, it's like your art needs to be able to save your own life, which means you need to really love what you make, and it can't be for an outcome. You can't be making art to make money. Like, at least like you can make money with your art, but you need to love making your art so much that you would do it for free. Because if you're doing it for an outcome, you're just gonna fall into the same trap of trying to create a formula, or trying to make things people like, or like outsourcing the validation for your art to outside external people and people's thoughts or whatever. But yeah, that's all I thought. I know this was all over the place. I kind of did it off the dome. I did write some notes, but I feel like, this is a topic I've been thinking of a lot. But it's something I've been noticing with my artist circles, how people feel about certain things, and it's not good. but now more than ever, artists are needed. There's a lot of bad AI slop out there. People are not even ready anymore. And because there's so much slop up there, guess what? If you make something really good, it's gonna stand out. So that's something you should think about. Like, there's a lot of slop, but if you make something that stands out, that's lives on its own, that's human, you have a chance to reach people. With that being said, it is Friday, the February 6th, when I am recording this. I have a new song out, ironically called Friday. It's on all streaming services, Spotify, Apple Music, under Rob X. Friday by Rob X. Friday by Rob X. Check that out. It's a super fun song. And I hope you enjoyed this. Peace.